This morning's guest's day job is ministering to adults. In 2 days, he'll have a night job. Who is he, and what'll it be? You'll meet him coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're in the lobby of the Embassy Suites Resort at Kingston Plantation. We're focused on the 13th annual American Heart Ball to be held here this Saturday night. And we're visiting with the co-chair of the event, Todd Harms. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
This is so exciting. We are so close. It's
Absolutely.
50 hours, 60 hours away?
2 days.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. So much has happened over the last number of months to get ready for this, Todd.
It's
even since you were with us 6-7 weeks ago when we were over at Myrtle Beach Lighting trying to get ready for the event, I think then you were with us on a Friday, and as we were getting close, planning out all the sponsors and auction items and decorations. Rita Siegel-Levine will be with us tomorrow to talk about decorations. So much has to happen to get ready for Saturday night.
It does. This is definitely a critical time for the event, and where everything kind of starts to come together, and so we'll see.
What are some of the things that have to happen now, Todd? You know, we've gotten this far. What are some of the things that are going to be happening today, the rest of the day, Thursday, all day tomorrow, Friday, and then leading up to 6 p.m. on Saturday night?
Well, you know, right now what is most important is all of our generous volunteers, are really kicking it into high gear, and auction items, number one, have to be transported starting tomorrow morning from the office to Kingston Plantation, where we're on site, and we'll start to have to arrange those, and so that in itself is a big job.
Oh yeah.
Rita and Dandelion has been just so generous year after year, and so this year's no exception. And on Saturday, early Saturday, those kinds of things will start coming together. The actual ballroom, will start to take shape.
Sure.
And each of the table settings, all of those things, and the staff here at Kingston, we've been guests of Kingston several times over through the years. And one thing that always stands out about Kingston is they're so reliable, so easy to get along with. And so in that, I'm very excited to be here and working with them, because they can pretty much make anything happen, and so that'll be nice.
They have done exactly events like this over and over. Joe Delaney, who had said, I think he's been here 18 years. Sabina Robinson, 13 years. Tremendous longevity. Terry Harrelson, we met, had been here 12 years. Who helped lay out the dining room. Of course, even Carmine, who was with us earlier this week, only a year, but involved in big events, helped put on events like this. It's tremendous when you see, as Joe said, we went to the Sheraton, or now Sheraton Radisson 4 years ago. We were at the Marriott for 3 years, and he said, welcome home. And it's a great thing. It's been a good time away, and we love those venues. We're thankful the Marriott, I think, has come in as a corporate table of this year's event, spending $2,750. So obviously they recognize the mission is right.
That's right.
The mission is right.
It's amazing to me just to see Rita and her continued involvement this year, especially in the wake of her husband's the stroke and
in December.
I'm just amazed that she's there, and she's committed, just like every other year.
Right. It is amazing. We'll be with her tomorrow morning, the eve of the event, and of course for her, as you say, having had a heart attack herself in 2000, that didn't slow her down in 2000. She was still on site, making sure the event was successful that year, and now her husband's stroke on D-Day on December 7th.
She's pretty amazing.
She is an amazing gal. And, of course, earlier this week, Ann Lehman was with us on Monday, another incredible volunteer who'll be helping out a lot on decorations tomorrow and on Saturday. And, of course, Hilda was with us yesterday. Hilda Carter, year after year, another volunteer who's been impacted by heart disease and stroke.
Certainly.
It's amazing. How many folks, Todd? Now, of course, you've got some heart disease in your family, don't you?
My dad has been impacted just through the years. He's suffered from heart disease and had a number of procedures, and I just, each time we're there with him, and I'm just amazed at the technology, and every time it seems that things are easier. His recovery time is quicker. The entire process just seems less critical because of the research and development that has occurred through the money raised, for American Heart Association.
And of course, he recently went back in for a little follow-up. Is that correct?
He did. Just in the last year or so, and he's doing great. My dad's the perfect patient. He whatever the doctor tells him to do, he's very diligent in that and mindful of all the restrictions, and so his diet and exercise and all those things, he's very, very conscious of that. And so he's a cardiologist's dream.
I love it. I love it. Your dad's one of the perfect patients, and of course, not only your dad, but also your family here locally. Y'all, albeit not impacted by heart disease and stroke directly, but y'all are making this a real family affair.
We have, since marrying my wife a couple of years ago. My children are my parents. They're just the apple of their eye these days, and so my dad, has a real strong relationship with both my son Adam and my daughter Samantha, and so they are very excited to be a part of things this year and donating their time and energy. And of course, my wife has also been a strong supporter. These last few years.
Last February, Sherry was in there pounding out, volunteering in the office for a whole month of February, Heart Month, leading up to the March 6th event or March whatever event last year. And, of course, this year can't be in the office all the time, but is surely pounding it out behind the scenes, helping support you and the entire organization. It is such a big deal to raise $400,000, almost $500,000, Todd, in one night.
It is.
In one night, but it doesn't all just happen in one night.
No, and last year we had a goal of $350, I believe, and so this year we upped that by $50,000. And it is intimidating in some ways, but we have an incredible community. And things always come together. We met our goal last year,
right?
And we're close this year. We've still got some money to raise, but everyone has been very generous, and so we're hoping that $400 is well inside it.
Sure, absolutely. And, of course, there's a lot more things that could even happen in the next 48 hours, whether folks come in to buy tickets at the last minute. As you know, here in Myrtle Beach, a lot of folks don't make decisions until the last minute. It is President's Day weekend, so a lot of folks are out of town.
That's right.
Because of Monday being a school holiday. A lot of folks, even our other co-chair, Andy Gresco, he and his family are going to be skiing.
That's right.
Waccamaw Cardiology will still have their table staff, but that's a big, I think we talked about Emma Ruth Britton and her husband who are going to be out of town this weekend because of her son's trip there at Furman or otherwise. And, of course, they are still supporting with sponsorships and buying tickets and donating auction items and making the event as successful as possible.
That's right. And as you said, through ticket sales, we've had donors come by the day of the event with an auction item. We want this in the auction, and so obviously we'll do whatever we can to include that. So it's a great opportunity to raise even more money. So
other than wanting to fight heart disease and stroke and help the Heart Association raise more money, why would someone want to donate an auction item, Todd? If someone wanted to do just that today at 7 a.m. on Thursday, if they wanted to come by the office today or tomorrow, we may not be able to get them in the program book, but we'll get it up there. We'll get it displayed.
That's right.
What's the importance of that?
Well, as you said, in addition to being just the right thing to do and, just being civic-minded, there are, tax advantages. And, and certainly they would want to speak with their tax advisor about that.
Sure.
But also the exposure. This is, this year, this event has grown into, we'll have upwards of 1,000 guests potentially.
Right.
And so the exposure that affords these donors is incredible. It might be that someone has used a different provider of a service or has bought a particular item from a different store or merchant.
Sure.
And so in seeing that this individual supports the Heart Ball, that can certainly impact.
Yes, sure.
Absolutely.
They may think about changing their spending habits.
I'll tell you that it impacts my decisions as a consumer all year long, because I just think it's important, and I absolutely buy things from certain people or certain businesses because of their support. It's that important to me, individually.
Oftentimes, folks are pushing the locally owned and operated aspect of buy locally, spend locally. And of course, if it's not that instance, oftentimes in our instance, we've got groups like Costco or Sam's Club, which are clearly not locally owned and operated, but donate lots of items to the Heart Ball. People who attend the Heart Ball and love the fight against heart disease and stroke are going to be more apt to support one or the other of those groups that oftentimes will have lots of items that they may be interested in.
That's right, and recognizing, when those big businesses acknowledge that although they're not a local business, they are a part of the local community.
Yes.
And it's critical because, we make those decisions. We are contributing to the success of that business locally, and is that a viable business,
right,
and that sort of thing. And so, I think they have that responsibility to contribute as well. And most of those businesses do step up to the plate and contribute. And Costco and Sam's are two perfect examples of that.
They are. We've got Walmart, the district manager for Walmart, new district manager Scott will be attending with the general manager of the Briarcliff location. Hilda's son will be out here this Saturday night. Those are folks that are stepping up to the plate, giving us $1,000+ to make it successful, and clearly that reinvesting in the community to make a difference, whether it's big companies like that, worldwide, large retailers, or relatively small startup companies like our presenting sponsor, a Triangle-based software technology company, stepping up with $22,500, a Chapel Hill-based company, to make an impact in the fight against heart disease and stroke locally in the Myrtle Beach area, because they know those research dollars are going to be spread wherever they go. They're going to make an impact.
That's right, and it is a team effort. When you look at a goal like $400,000, well, no business is individually equipped to make that happen.
Right.
And so the Myrtle Beach community as a whole can certainly do that, and companies like Understanding Corporation. I mean, it's incredible contribution. 22.5. I don't know. I just, and even in local businesses, Carolina First comes to mind because they were one of the first to.
Oh yeah, to step up big. That's right. 5,500. That's right. Sure. And a lot of those great sponsors. I can't even remember all the folks that are up there. Georgetown Memorial Hospital, help me out. The Conway Medical Center, Grand Strand Regional Medical Center, Century 21 Bowling, of course, Dunes Investments, which stepped up for the first time ever with the 5,500, and of course Carolina First right up there. There's probably someone else. I hate to even mention them all. Redline Power Sports and the Myrtle Beach Herald, obviously in around the $7,500 range.
Yes. It's hard because, and the exciting thing about this year is that Renee Minkin is serving as our sponsorship chair.
Yeah.
And there are lots who, haven't contributed in the past that she's really gotten involved in. I mean, she hit the ground running.
Yes, she did.
Since we mentioned, and asked her to serve in that way. And, McDonald's Amusements comes to mind because they're a first-time donor. And so they'll be attending the event and sponsored at the $37.50 level. So it's good stuff.
It is tremendous to see folks step out and they wonder, why am I giving $3,750 for 12 seats that I could buy for $175 each, essentially spending a little more than $2,000? Why am I spending an additional $1,500, $1,600? And of course, again, where are those dollars going?
Well, and it's the right thing to do. It offers you that exposure, and the money is going directly towards that research development that's absolutely making a difference. And with the numbers, with the statistics here in South Carolina and even nationally, there can't be enough done towards just figuring out how just cures and alternate methods of treatment and these kinds of things. How can we do a better job of taking care? And everyone knows someone that has been impacted. Whether it's someone in your immediate family, someone in your neighborhood, someone in your church, these kinds of things.
A loved one, Ashlyn Clark, who was with us last Thursday, a week ago today, thinking about for her at age 17 as a high school senior, her hands and feet start turning blue. Finding out, what can I do about it? My Lord, just crazy. Can you imagine? Of course, she's taken an integral role in this year's Heart Ball as our special appeals person, and so it's not all fun and games that on Saturday night.
No, and that's really important to provide that exposure, because our perception is that these folks that are impacted with heart problems or heart disease, stroke, they're old or in poor health, this sort of thing. And so this young lady stepping forward and saying, hey, this is something that I deal with, is great, because I think it really challenges people think outside the box and say, okay, this is not someone that's just impacting my grandparents.
Right. Yes. She talked about that last Thursday. Todd, I don't know if you got to see her interview, but she talked about being now in the club with her grandparents in the Zipper Club.
Sure.
And having, she's got obviously a very substantial scar down her chest there in that same club. Ann Lehman talked about it on Monday, and that's a big deal.
It is, absolutely.
That's a very big deal. Some of the things that viewers may not imagine or can't even imagine that are happening, that have happened over the last couple weeks leading up, again, as you said, auction, transporting hundreds of thousands of dollars of items up here over the next 48 hours to get set up all day. I guess tomorrow, Friday, we're going to be setting up all the auction items.
Yes, and it's always a toss-up each year. This year we're thankful to have that access to the facility early on, so we're not quite as pressed for time. In fact, in years past, it's been as late as, well, we can have you in the ballroom by noon the day of the event. And certainly that offers a stressful afternoon.
Very limited day. And, of course, the Kingston Plantation opened up. A great rate here for villas here, 2-bedroom, 2-bath villas. Savina Robinson was pumping them up last Tuesday. Carmine talked a little bit about them, but they 2-bed, 2-bath for $125, a special hardball rate, which is a great opportunity to be able to stay on site. The hotel was booked because of the dang marathon, of course, this Saturday, which is another stressful event on the Strand, the 10th annual marathon. But having the opportunity to be able to stay on site for all the volunteers that are setting up auction items or helping set up decorations. Ann talked about all the decorations that have to get set up that day. That's a lot of work.
I mean, it's a full day, and for our hardcore volunteers, there have been years that we've kind of said, okay, well, we got to run, and we'll have 20 minutes to run upstairs, and everybody gets dressed, and we'll meet back here, this sort of thing, and so truly having those accommodations here on site is almost necessary.
It's critical. That's absolutely critical. Think about, real quick, Todd, just some of the, of course, we've got a new MC this year. We've got a new auctioneer who's coming in. Of course, we talked about Ashlyn Clark as the special appeals, really helping to drive home the mission of the event. Share with the viewers how we've made a little changeover this year with a new MC and auctioneer.
Well, I think it's just change is always good, and that's not to say that everyone in the past has done, just a great job.
Oh, yeah.
This year's event will have a little different flavor in that Diane Devon Stokes is joining us as the MC.
Right.
And, we all love Diane, and she's just so much fun and just brings a lot of energy to the table.
Yes.
And so excited to have her a part of things. Coach David Bennett, as our auctioneer. And when I spoke to Coach last weekend, in fact, he said, y'all must have been, really desperate for an auctioneer.
Yeah.
I have to disagree. I think that, that his personality is really going to come across, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun the whole evening. And so I think it'll be a great opportunity to really showcase their skills. In fact, I think they'll make a great, partnership.
Those two should make a great team
Absolutely.
up there. They really should. And again, as you said, not to take anything away from Ed Piotrowski and Teddy Henry, which year after year have made an effort. Teddy, again, donating a barbecue for 100 this year.
That's right.
It's folks like that are really stepping up to the plate to donate big items. And Ed, who can't be with us, his wife Deborah's got to be out of town this weekend, but had really hoped to be with us this. And of course, Teddy and Margaret, who again are actually a week after next. They're hosting the barbecue for 100 that was purchased at last year's Hardball. So, they're surely coming out of pocket to make this event successful.
The support they offer is incredible, and we can't thank those folks enough. That have supported the event and just the Heart Association in general year after year.
Gift bags, another part of this Saturday night, Todd. What are the gift bags all about?
Gift bags are just an opportunity to participate at a different level, and with the gift bag comes the opportunity, I think, to win $1,000.
Yeah, great.
So that's pretty exciting. And but I think again, most people are buying those as an opportunity to do the right thing and contribute. And the reality is, as many offerings as we have in the auction, there might be, this particular year there may be nothing that you particularly want to bid on. I can't imagine, but that may be the case. And so the gift bags are an opportunity for you to, contribute at a different level, albeit, the special appeals campaign as well as an opportunity to contribute at whatever level you feel appropriate. So those are two other great opportunities to give back and to be a part of the evening's fundraising.
The special appeals is something that just kicked off a few years ago. It was a real opportunity to make sure folks didn't think it was just about great food, great entertainment. It's also about the mission of the American Heart Association and fighting heart disease and stroke. And whether it's, as you said, persons like Ashlyn Clark, like Lance and Marjorie Thompson and their daughter Savannah and Chandler there on the stage, or Sue Cranford talking about the loss of her son who was impacted, much like Ashlyn, totally unexpected, but stepping up to make sure we understand the significance of the mission there. We just got a couple of minutes, Todd. And, when we think about all that has to happen, you've been working on this for a long time. Really leading up to it. Absolutely. You've been active. The auction committee. Think about some exciting past auction items, and of course some other great auction items. Are there any one you want to thank in particular? Any auction? There's so many items that you almost can't really highlight.
Well, it's comical because we, from time to time, have had success with celebrity, and the one I still hear about is Britney Spears boots. People still say, "How did you get those?"
Purple,
or what? Yep, these purple boots, that she donated some years ago, and so that's probably the most fun item to talk about. But I think that the contribution that sticks out for me are our artists, who donate original art. And Tommy Davis has been incredibly generous over the years. Kimberly Dawn, Kim Clayton, her contributions. I love her art, just the folk art, and it's just so much fun and has so much meaning. Karen Edgar. And actually, we've got a few new artists that I'm not going to mention any names because they've kind of got involved late in the game.
Right.
I don't have anything in hand, but I'm hoping that they're going to be able to contribute as well. And so, the reason that those things stick out for me is that these folks, it takes a long time to, I can't even imagine. I don't have an artistic bone in my body, but
nor I.
So these folks that sit down and just spend hours, in front of these canvases. That says a lot. It really does.
It does, and there is not. You could spend 30 minutes talking about auction items, going through the list of $150,000, $200,000. We've had a very diligent auction crew constantly out there working the crowd. A lot of newbies this year. Of course, you've worked with folks.
You have to mention Redline Sports. Just because they have
$10,500
item, year after year. That's just
Honda Aquatrax,
four-wheelers,
beautiful. Exactly, they've done four-wheelers in the past, and jet skis. They did the Segway a couple of years ago,
which were huge fun. That was generated a lot of excitement.
Very popular
as well.
with Liz Gillen cruising around on the dance floor on one. That's if you remember that year, Bob Brooks bought it and then gave it back, and we got to bid it off twice.
Absolutely.
Let's hope maybe someone will do that with the jet skis this Saturday.
Always a good idea.
Yeah, to just give it back. And of course, there aren't folks always that can do that night.
No.
That can donate an item back, but a lot of folks are there who have donated. Some people even buy their own items back. They're donating for the right reasons. They're buying it back for the right reason. They want to keep it, but they wanted to help make a difference in the fundraising that night.
That's right.
This Saturday night. The food, I hear they've got a tremendous menu this Saturday night. I'm not going to put you on the spot to lay out the entire. We've just got a minute, Todd. And when you think about the mission itself, and for you, and of course getting your whole family involved this year, where all of y'all are going to be here working, obviously this weekend from here on out. What is it you think that makes you continue to commit year after year?
I've said this before. My dad, he's just my hero, and recognizing that, he's still with us very likely because of the research and development that happens as a result of American Heart Association, and so it's a lot of fun. Just the fellowship that happens with the volunteers and this sort of thing. So it's not all selfless. It's it's a great time, and so the time that I give back, it's just been a great blessing to me and to my family, and I think as parents, we have that obligation to bring our kids up and share with them, what's important, and certainly, giving your time and for those that have it, money is important. It's huge.
Absolutely. Todd, thanks so much for being with us this
Thank
morning.
you, Greg. Always a
Very
pleasure.
definitely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with co-chair Todd Harms coming up next. You heard him talk about getting his family involved, his wife and kids involved, but it was his family that got him involved, his father. Think about at an early age learning that your dad or your mother has had a bout with cardiovascular disease or stroke, or seeing a loved one, a friend, a peer. It's family members oftentimes that drive your involvement in a nonprofit organization. It's loved ones. For folks like Ann Lehman earlier this week or Ashlyn Clark last week, it's themselves being born with a hole in their heart or having a reverse valves. Whatever it is, get involved. The mission's still the same, helping against the fight against heart disease and stroke. Step out. Call the Heart Association office at 626-3939. Show up out here to volunteer. There's still volunteer needs tomorrow and even today. Getting auction items moved up here to Kingston Plantation. Make a difference. We need your help.